Hello and welcome, a very warm welcome to the Green Bean. My name is Katie, this is Jack, and if you're new here, welcome. This is a channel where I share my creative process and projects, but this is an unusual episode. You can probably tell by the stack of boxes here. I am in the process of moving house, and this is the episode where I'm finally going to be able to share where we're going. There is some crafting content in this episode. I'm going to talk about a knitting project that has been very much entwined with this process of moving house. So if you want to cut ahead straight to that, I'll leave a timestamp down below so you know where you can jump ahead to the knitting content. But if you want to hear about our house move, then let me share. I've kind of forgotten to what extent I've talked about this house move here on YouTube, on my Instagram, on Patreon, on my newsletter, because we've been in the process for such a long time. We started looking for a new house in March this year, and as I record, it is mid-October. So it has been the longest and most tedious process. But here we are, it's finally done, it's finally happening. So my partner and I have been planning to relocate for a really long time. Don't get me wrong, we really love Dartmoor. I think my love of Dartmoor National Park comes across in every single video I've made and shared on this channel. I'm gonna miss it with all my heart, but for various reasons we thought it was time to relocate. Quite frankly, my business has outgrown this house and we can't afford to stay in this part of the country anymore. So for very practical reasons, we're going to be moving elsewhere. So where are we moving to? Well, it had to be somewhere rural. We all love the outdoors in this family. As you will have seen from years of my videos from Dartmoor, I love spending time in the outdoors, and I couldn't imagine going back to living in a city after living here in Devon, so close to Dartmoor for so long. So it needed to be somewhere rural, and it needed to be somewhere within relative easy reach of our friends and family. Obviously, we have friends and family down here in the West Country. My family are based in London, and we both lived in Bristol for a time, so we've got a lot of friends there as well. So where did we choose? Let's show you. So we are moving to Wales, South Wales to be specific, and to the Brecon Beacons National Park, and I am so excited. Really excited about this new location. I'd actually never been to the Brecon Beacons before we went to look at the house, which is now our house. So I'm really excited to have a new part of the world to explore, and it seems like it's really beautiful. there are mountains, real mountains. That's not something you get in the West Country at all. So I'm very excited about that. I'm also excited because this is the first time that we have been able to buy our own house, and I recognise that's a position of incredible privilege, but it's actually not something I ever thought I would be able to do. When I decided I wanted to do my creative work for a living, I thought I was forfeiting a certain amount of financial stability for the rest of my life, and never imagined I would be able to buy my own home. So I feel incredibly fortunate to have been able to do so, and the home we've bought needs a lot of work. There's a reason it was affordable. It's currently a bit of a hellscape of 70s carpets, asbestos and foam textured wallpaper, so we definitely have work to do, but the excitement is it's our own house. I've never had the opportunity to decorate a house before. I get to paint murals, I get to pick what colour the carpets are. All those kind of decisions are for me to make. Having always lived in rented houses, I've had to make do with kind of basic white walls and beige carpets forever. So I'm really excited about that, and I'm really excited about sharing that process of designing and making my new home with you. It does mean, of course, that we will be living in some measure of chaos for the foreseeable future. I definitely want to keep making podcasts as much as I can and sharing the process and the things we discover about the Brecon Beacons National Park as we explore it. But there's definitely going to be some chaos ahead as we move and get settled in this new place. Let's talk about some crafting, shall we? And the project I want to share is a pair of socks I've been working on that I've come to think of as my moving house socks. Here's the first one finished. So I cast these on back in March when we started looking for a house, and back then we hadn't decided where we were going to move to. We were pretty open to lots of different parts of the country, and we did a lot of driving trying to decide where we're going to go up north as far as Yorkshire and Cumbria, and I needed a car-friendly knitting project. Oh, bless you, Jack, you're such a sweetie. I don't know about you, but I'm someone who gets really travel sick. I can't read in the car, so any knitting project that involves any measure of reading a chart, or even that I really have to look at what I'm doing, is not going to be suitable for travelling. So a pair of vanilla socks seemed the way to go, but me being me, vanilla socks are a little boring, so I went for a self-striping yarn, and it was the perfect fit as a driving project. I think of knitting with self-striping yarn as like the ultimate comfort project, because you get the ease and rhythm of knitting plain stockinette, which is super relaxing when you're going through the very stressful process of trying to figure out where you're going to live and not knowing and waiting to hear from estate agents and all of this stuff. But combined with the self-striping, you get the interest of just one more row, just waiting for the next colour. It was a really good balance and choice of project, I think. So I don't follow a pattern for my vanilla socks. I'm sure I've talked about this before, but I will recap it in case you're new here. I use 2mm needles. I use the magic loop technique, and I cast on 72 stitches. I start with a 2x2 ribbed cuff. Then I knit plain stockinette down to the heel flap, which in this case is slip stitch with a 3-stitch garter selvage on each side. That's a tip that I learned from my fellow podcasting friend Nicole of The Gentle Knitter. It makes it really easy to poke the tip of your needle in and pick up those stitches down the side of the heel flap. Then I do a heel turn and I work the gusset decreases in a slightly different position than is standard. Normally they sit here along the edge of the instep. I prefer to place them at the bottom of the heel flap on the sole of the foot. Then I work straight down to the toe, which is a barn toe, a technique by Kate Atherley, which closes with bringing all of your stitches together like the top of a hat, so there's no grafting involved, which I really like. It means that you can just cast off and finish your sock without having to pick up any extra tools. The yarn I'm using for this project is from Nomadic Yarns on Etsy. It is a Christmas colourway called Me Under The Mistletoe, but it's dyed on a base with some yak in it. So it's a grey base which has really muted the colours down. I don't think it says Christmas at all, personally. I love all of the colours in here, obviously. You can see I was drawn to it because it's got some greens, golds and browns, and there's a bit of dusky pink and black in here. And I complemented it with a mini skein, also from Nomadic Yarns. They have lots of coordinating mini skeins available. So I've used that for the cuff, the heel and the toe, although as you'll see, I suspect I might run out of that mini skein before the toe on the second sock. So the reason I haven't finished these socks despite casting them on all the way back in March is because, as I said, this project became inextricably linked with the process of moving house for me. And initially when we started looking, we thought we were going to rent, so the fact that we ended up buying a house and the whole process took 6 months or so, longer than we thought it would. Much of that time spent anxiously waiting for news, and I kind of began to feel like if I finished the project before we heard the news about our house, then I would somehow jinx the process. So I felt like I couldn't finish. Excuse me? I felt like I couldn't finish these socks until we were sure of our new house, and somehow I have this idea in my head that I will be knitting down to the toe of this second sock and finishing it, casting it off as we make our final journey from Dartmoor up to Wales to move into our new home at last. By the way, if you're wondering about the title of this episode, and you're a fellow Tolkien fan, or maybe you're not, allow me to explain. So after we had decided that we were in fact moving to Wales, I was sitting on the sofa in the living room looking at the map of Middle-earth that I have on the wall, as you do, and I couldn't help but think that the shape of Middle-earth corresponded somewhat to the shape of Wales. So I had a little Google to see if anyone else had ever noticed this similarity, and I found this incredible GIF which morphs the map of Middle-earth onto the map of Wales, and I was incredibly excited, and since seeing that I've been utterly convinced that we are in fact moving house to live in Middle-earth. That's all we have to share with you in this episode. Thank you so much for being here and for sharing in my excitement about our new location. I'm really looking forward to a new chapter and sharing all of that process with you. Re-establishing a new studio, setting up a garden for the first time, all of this stuff. I'm trying to manage my expectations and imagine that this is going to be something that's going to evolve slowly over years rather than come together very quickly. But nonetheless, I'm looking forward to sharing that next part of our adventure with you. If you would like to support me and my work and this channel, these videos are entirely made possible by our lovely supporters on Patreon. So if you're able, please consider joining the community over there, or you can also buy me a cuppa from the link down below. That's all. Thank you so much for watching and for being here, and I will see you soon. Bye. Good boy. Good boy, Jack. You good boy.